Thanks for tuning in. This is Keelan with All Seasons Gardening, and today we're going to talk about transplanting tomato plants. This tomato plant actually was just transplanted into this red cup on the 1st of April of 2021, and today is the 5th. And so I'm not going to be transplanting this plant into this 7-gallon grow bag, but just want to kind of show you how quickly some of these tomato plants can grow. Here's the same type of tomato, a classic beefsteak that I put in the cup on the beginning of March, and I just want to show you how big this plant has gotten just in this 6-inch little cup. So I mean, there's the top of it, there's the whole plant there, and that today is what I'm going to be putting into that 7-gallon grow bag. So this is a beefsteak tomato. I have grown these in 5-gallon grow bags, but it just seems like there's not enough room for them. So this year I'm going to try a 7-gallon grow bag. And then just to show you again what a month can do. Beginning of March for this one. Look how big it is. This one put in the beginning of April. And I'll show you later on the progress of how quickly tomato plants can grow. So first off, what I do is look at the soil. It's kind of dry, so I'll wet it a little bit just so it's easier to transplant. And then what I like to do is to take a closer look and look for the fuzzy kind of hairy stuff on the stem. Those are called trichomes, and what they pretty much do is once these little hairy fuzzy things touch soil, they'll actually create roots. So you know, this bucket right now, this cup is, I don't know, 6-7 inches tall, and if I put dirt all the way up here, well, that just means it's just going to be a bigger root system. So I mean, that's about maybe 3 to 4 inches. So bigger root system, better plant you'll have in the long term. But also what I'll end up doing are these lower stems here, and you can actually see a sucker is what they call that, where it comes in from a bigger stem, is I'll actually just pinch these off just so I can get more of that trichome buried to have a bigger root system. So I'll even take this one off here, and then there's a little sucker right there. I'll try to get it, and I'll probably have to come back and get it later. And then what I'll end up doing is burying the stem all the way up to probably about here. Probably won't go all the way up here, just so this part of the stem and leaves aren't that close to the soil. The closer you have these leaves to the soil, the better chances that they'll get some kind of disease or from splashing up of the water and everything when you water them. So probably from this point right here is where I will bury it. So kind of show you how I get these plants out. And I do have a video where I actually showed how I transplant or start these plants from seeds, and then how I keep them warm and everything. I'll put a link to it in the video, but you can just kind of see the root system there. I mean, this tomato plant was ready. It needed to be transplanted probably a little bit earlier, but just been kind of busy. But shouldn't have any problems though. I mean, tomatoes are very hardy. I mean, they're a very forgiving plant. So beautiful root system on this thing. And so what I'll end up doing actually is just breaking up this bottom part of the root, not too hard, kind of spread it out a little bit. Squeeze it. Not too bad, enough just so the roots know, hey, I can spread out a little bit more. And then I'll put in my 7-gallon grow bag that I have probably 3 to 4 inches of soil in currently right now. And just to kind of show you guys what we got going on. So once I have that, scoot this up a little bit, I will get my other bag of soil and fill it up. every so often, just come in, spread it around, give the plant some support. And the soil I'm using is actually a mixture of potting soil, peat moss, cow manure, and then fertilizer. And the reason why I just don't use potting soil is, you know, it's really not enough nutrients in potting soil when you buy it from the store. And sometimes it's kind of rough, I like to call it. It's kind of hard to see, but kind of has a lot more bark and stuff in it. So to get these roots to be able to spread out, you know, I'll put in the peat moss and the manure just kind of to amend it, make it a little bit easier for that root system to spread. And manure for, you know, it will decompose, compost, nutrients that it'll get from it. Makes the soil a little bit softer, and so does peat moss. The peat moss will actually hold in a little bit of moisture in the soil, and it's supposedly actually help to keep nutrients, or, you know, the fertilizer that you put in, so it doesn't get rinsed out when you're watering the plants. I know a lot of people think, well, you don't want too much moisture because you'll get root rot, and that's right. But what I've noticed with these grow bags is that since they're a fabric, you know, they actually let air come through and allow the root system actually get air, which roots need air also. Didn't know that until I started gardening. So they actually need a little bit of air themselves, so I use that peat moss to help keep the moisture in, so the soil doesn't dry out too quickly, because that's what happens with these grow bags. The soil will dry out a little bit quicker than if you were doing it in a plastic container. But I just like growing stuff in these. Easy to fold up. I mean, I got a hoop house, and the more space I can save, the better. And I've just noticed that plants seem to just grow a lot better out of these things. And I've reused some of these grow bags for just about going on 3 years now. And they come with handles. And they're just great. I love them. And there's multiple things you can do with them. You know, got a little boy, and sometimes he just wants to go pick stuff from the garden. So I just go grab one of these grow bags and let him pick stuff from the garden. Kind of windy today, so I was going to do this in the hoop house, but it's pretty warm in there. Alright, I'll probably put a little bit more soil in there. Got a little bit left. Alright. And then I'll kind of put a mound of dirt around the stem there, just so this trichome can spread and create a bigger root system. And there we go. There's the tomato plant. That's the classic beefsteak, transplanted into a 7-gallon grow bag. And then what I'll do is just make sure to give it a good soak. And then I'll put a stake to give it some support, in a tomato cage probably, and show you guys the progress of this tomato plant later. And then also just kind of a key takeaways here. Just remember, if you're wanting to do this, you know, you don't have to do this potting soil and peat moss manure. If you just want to do potting soil, you can. Tomato plants, they're not very picky. They'll grow in just about anything. So I mean, if you don't go through all that hassle, don't. But anyways, guys, I will keep you posted on the progress of the tomato plants, and hopefully you guys can get started on some. And if you have any questions, just let me know.